On January 26, 2026, Russian propagandist Margarita Simonyan published a photo for the first time after chemotherapy without a wig. In September last year, during a broadcast on the program of her colleague, propagandist Vladimir Solovyev, she announced her illness.
I was diagnosed with a terrible, serious illness. Tomorrow, I have surgery, right here, under this medal.
It was later revealed that she had cancer. Simonyan did not specify what type of cancer she had been diagnosed with. The media speculate that it is breast cancer. By December, the propagandist had already returned to Russian television screens after undergoing a course of chemotherapy. She appeared on air wearing a wig. Information about her illness emerged a few weeks before her husband, Tigran Keosayan, died. He had been in a coma for 9 months. In January 2025, the propagandist experienced clinical death. He had long-standing heart problems. In 2008 and 2010, Keosayan suffered 2 myocardial infarctions. Keosayan, like his wife, was engaged in propaganda, justifying Russian aggression. Keosayan actively claimed that Crimea and Donbass supposedly belonged to Russia. Even before the full-scale invasion, back in 2017, Keosayan threatened that Russia would be in Kiev. His wife, Margarita Simonyan, also continues to spread propaganda narratives to the masses. Because of her dissemination of disinformation, Russian propaganda, and support for Russia's war against Ukraine, she is under sanctions from Ukraine and 27 EU countries, the US, the UK, Canada, Switzerland, Australia, Japan, and New Zealand. In 2022, Armenia declared her persona non grata and banned her from entering the country.
Margarita Simonyan and her now late husband Tigran Keosayan made it into the top 3 highest paid propagandists. There's nothing good to say about the deceased, so let's leave him to Lucifer and move on.
Next in line, the children.
It's hard to believe that the future queen of propaganda was born into a family of Armenians deported from Crimea. The story sounds almost touching if you don't know who this girl would become 2 decades later.
Right from the very beginning. In fact, even when Putin was still just acting president.
Today, Simonyan either stubbornly ignores the repressions of the Putin era or diligently tries to justify them.
And we need to understand that this is not happening only because we turned out to be stronger and did not allow it. We did not allow our economy to be destroyed. Once again, I want to thank Mishestin, our prime minister, and everyone who works with him. We did not allow our army to be destroyed while fighting against all of NATO, mind you, not just Ukraine. Not only did we not let it be destroyed, we made it stronger. And we also need to give huge thanks to those responsible for this. And furthermore, I would like to express my very special thanks to our Supreme Commander-in-Chief.
The end of the 90s. A young journalist begins her career on regional television.
Greetings, everyone. I have been instructed to come up with some kind of performance.
Reports, business trips, hotspots. In this chaos, Simonyan quickly learns the main professional skill. The state doesn't need the truth, it needs the right picture.
It is a mishap, yeah. It is kind of, well, you know.
For her diligence in kissing up to the rubber backside, she receives her first awards and an offer to move to VGTRK, the main kingdom of propaganda. That's why she agrees to become a correspondent in Rostov without hesitation.
Don't get this. I'm not a military expert. You know, I'm just a silly woman.
Next comes the capital, Moscow, a place the girl who grew up in a communal apartment with rats could never have even dreamed of.
And they shouted, "Russians never surrender." How could you not get teary-eyed?
A native of Krasnodar, she ends up in the Kremlin purse pool with astonishing speed. By 2003, she was already working on Putin's live Q and A session. But the peak of the young journalist's shameless and unprincipled career came with Beslan. September 2004, the terrorist attack at school number 1. 3 days of lies, distortions, and outright manipulations broadcast across the country by state media.
Margarita Simonyan. The hostages taking advantage. Mom, you know, Mikhail, they really are shooting at you.
Simonyan was among those who covered the tragedy the right way. So right that she received a medal from the Ministry of Defense. An award for journalistic work during the deaths of hundreds of children, a symbolic detail of her career. It was then that Margarita truly savored the full pleasure of the Kremlin generously paying for the right kind of lies.
I must honestly admit that I do not understand a single thing about politics, war, or the complex way in which my country thinks at all whatsoever.
After Beslan, her career took off rapidly. At 25, Simonyan becomes the head of the Kremlin-created international TV channel Russia Today, a showcase of alternative truth for the outside world.
You're making me nervous. Why are you doing this?
Russia Today has never lied. We'd have been shut down long ago.
The leadership of the Empire of Lies elevated her to the top of the media pedestal. A few years later, she appears in all the major rankings of the most influential women in Putin's Russia. For the significant development of national culture and many years of dedicated work, Margarita Simonyan, the esteemed editor-in-chief of the international television network Russia Today, is hereby awarded the Distinguished Order of Honor. Margot has never hidden her sycophancy and civility toward Putin.
I don't attend closed meetings with the president very often, but sometimes I do.
In 2012, she joined Putin's People's Headquarters and later became a trusted representative of the dictator.
Russian journalist Margarita Simonyan officially cast her ballot for Putin.
United Russia is no stranger to Margarita Simonyan either. She is the co-chair of the party's General Council Working Group on Human Rights Activities. The irony here is no longer hidden, it's almost mocking.
128 people hang them, and what do I want to say? These are the kind of hangers we need.
In 2013, another mouthpiece of Kremlin propaganda, veteran Dmitry Kiselyov, appoints her as editor-in-chief of RT, and soon after, of the Sputnik agency as well. Sputnik becomes an export weapon of propaganda. Dozens of countries see the introduction of Kremlin narratives into their news agendas. For a long time, this looked like soft power.
I always emphasize, so you clearly understand. I understand why my homeland, Russia, acts this way or that way. I understand our logic.
But after the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the masks came off. Sputnik fully shifted to military propaganda, abandoning even the illusion of journalism.
He gave us back our dignity. Dignity can't be measured in money. But that too.
After RT was forcefully stripped of its licenses and platforms in the West for spreading blatant lies and inciting hatred, Margot took on the role of the offended and insulted and began openly and aggressively cursing all Western values, systematically branding everyone as enemies and traitors.
What if we were to carry out, say, a thermonuclear explosion, a nuclear explosion hundreds of kilometers away, still on our own territory, somewhere over Siberia, for example?
But whether it was karma catching up with the propagandist or a curse, her social media lately has been increasingly filled with pessimistic posts about cancer treatment after she was diagnosed with the disease.
When trouble comes, open the gates wide. In our house, the gates are not just unlocked anymore. They've practically been blown away by the winds of fate, if you ask me. Since we last saw each other, since the last broadcast in this past week, I have been diagnosed with a terrible, serious illness. Tomorrow I have surgery right here just under this metal.
Simonyan said that her future remains uncertain. And Putin, like a true master, stated that she has many comrades who will not abandon her. But at work, you always show such incredible courage and remarkable resilience. I am absolutely sure that you will get through this difficult situation as well.
Thank you. Promise.
Today, Margarita Simonyan is one of the most influential figures in the Russian media landscape.
And many of them, do you know what they call us? You know? Pig snout. So we are all collectively pig snout.
Her career is an illustration of how, in modern Russia, lies can become a social elevator.
Attitude. Putin will certainly not make any concessions at all.
Fake news, aggression, hysteria on air.
That is not the worst thing in life. There are things far scarier than death.
All of this has long since become her signature style.